The QPR podcast is sponsored by Florally Yours. Based outside Harrow-on-the-Hill train station and run by Kerry, a QPR fan, they can supply everything you need in the way of fresh flowers and plants for every occasion.
QPR, QPR, Chris Charles Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to the QPR podcast. I'm David Fraser and we have a full house of podcasters tonight. The original four. It wasn't the famous four, was it? It was the famous five? Famous five. Okay, the famous four.
Fantastic.
I prefer that. Because the only thing that is true is that there's four of us. We're neither fantastic nor famous. I'm David. I'm joined by Paul Finney from Independent Ars. Hello, Paul.
All right. And Funky Flowers.
And Funky Flowers, which, talking of flowers, let's thank our sponsors for this evening, which is Florally Yours. Thank you, Florally Yours, for sponsoring us.
This is not awkward at all.
If you have any needs for any flowers, fruit, veg, outside Harrow-on-the-Hill station, Paul...
Would you recommend them?
Button it. Chris Charles from... Wait for it, BT Sport. And Chris Mendes from ITV Sport.
Hello.
There's lots of good PR companies out there, isn't there?
There are a few, yes.
Sheamuse isn't one of them. Carry on.
He's got the hump about this other flower company, hasn't
Should
he?
we start again?
No, because everybody needs to hear you having the hump about another flower company sponsoring us. Florally Yours, they're called. Right.
I've got the hump.
Okay, fine.
You planted the seed there.
I know. Let's talk about the QPR podcast. We are on Twitter at QPR Pod. We're on Facebook if you search for New QPR Podcast. And you can also listen to all old episodes, I beg your pardon, on our website via qprpod.co.uk. Right, we are fresh off a clean sheet at the weekend. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's first game, a 0-0 draw. Paul, what's your take on it?
It was just what it was. I mean, I'm more baffled that we've played so many games without strikers and we haven't lost, so you can't really moan about it, so it's working. But it just seems really negative at home to start without these strikers. Then we brought Charlie Austin on, we looked more livelier, but Gray for them looked the most liveliest of all the players on the pitch. You could argue that Phillips should have scored a couple of times. And, you can see what we're trying to do. We're just trying to make it hard to be beaten. And then I think come January he's going to reevaluate the squad and then bring in who he thinks will do a job and try and get rid of others, because it just seems to me we're just going to plough through to January and then see what happens after that, because in this league you can start winning after January and quite easily get in the playoffs, in my humble opinion, which matters for not, especially Flowers.
Chris?
Me? Yeah, I mean, it was... I thought it was quite encouraging first half. We did, as Paul said, the problem was we created quite a lot of chances, but clearly paid for the fact that we didn't have a striker on. I mean, if Charlie can only be risked for half a game or less than that at the moment, I mean, maybe it might be an idea to actually start with him, because...
What's going on with that?
Well, he was injured, wasn't he? And he's either being protected to be sold in January.
But how much are they going to get for him in January that they need to protect him now? Do QPR need the 1 million or 2 million that they're going to get for him?
You get more than
for
that.
6 months?
Yeah, but we've got a contract.
I think so.
We've got 2 games in 4 days, though. Maybe you can't play 2 games in 4 days, 90 minutes. Maybe he'll start against Brighton.
Yeah.
He doesn't look very pleased. He doesn't look happy with life.
He looks happy in that Christmas video.
Oh, God.
He looks very happy.
But if the guy's fit enough to play for half an hour 2 weeks ago and 8 days ago and whatever, then surely you would think he's your best player, he's going to score the most goals, he's going to score your goals, you can start with him. There's got to be more.
Well, that's what I mean. I would. Assuming that the reason he has been brought on, that he's not starting, is the fact that he's coming back from injury, then I'd be tempted to start him, because by the time him and then Jet came on, we were starting to run out of ideas, run out of legs, and Burnley started to look stronger. I mean, having said that, the defence, Hall and Oates in the centre of defence are starting to look immense.
Hanua. They were saying, I think on one of the sites, maybe Clive's site, that they need like a name to call them. We need a name to call Hall and Anua, and we haven't really got one yet.
Yeah.
Chief Hall, I think, was a
Oh, I see what you mean,
or-
yeah. Well, I just called them Hall and Oates by mistake, but I don't think they'll be too thankful.
No, they're doing well.
But they did really well. But yeah, I think we just if we'd had a striker on,
I could go for that.
Hey!
Was that?
Yes.
I didn't know what you said.
I said, hold on, notes. I could go for that.
Right. Yeah.
Or just hooah.
It's a granddad's joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if Charlie or Jet or somebody else had been on for the first half, then I think we'd have got a goal and I think we'd have nicked it. I thought we looked all right, and for our first game in charge, I don't think we can have too many complaints.
People will moan, no doubt, I suppose.
Yeah, Burnley are quite hard to break down though, so I'm not. Yeah.
I've drawn 5 out of the last 6 or something like that.
I wasn't that impressed by them, I got to be honest. But then again, everyone keeps telling me how good this league is and everything else. I think this league is rubbish. It's absolutely the worst championship I can ever remember. I suppose we'll find out tomorrow night with Brighton if the yardsticks are. We all know what's going to happen tomorrow night. And who's going to score.
When you look at the Premier League,
you mean?
I know we're talking about QPR, but when you look at the Premier League, the prize for going up should be even greater, because even if you do go up, it's not that difficult to stay there if you get things right now.
Look at Bournemouth.
Yeah, Bournemouth aren't out of trouble by any means, but you know that Watford are going to stay up.
But Norwich are the only ones in the bottom 3 at the minute, and you could see them staying up as well.
I think we've been shown up because they're playing every game like a cup match, and we went in with the attitude to try and compete with the bigger clubs by having big name players, and it just shows you maybe the cup match mentality is that wee bit stronger, because I think Villa are going in that league. The two other teams, but one of them is going to stay up. Watford or Bournemouth will stay up, and that's going to be pretty spectacular in my opinion, when you think how much money we spent and we didn't quite manage it.
Well, particularly given that Bournemouth have sort of been shorn of some of their best players through injury, and Watford only changed their manager again at the start of the season.
And they'll probably change it for the end of the season.
Yeah, probably. But Bournemouth, they basically stuck to their principles and just said we're going to keep playing the same way, even though we've lost these key personnel. It would have been easy just to shut up shop and lump it up to the big man. But and maybe I don't know. I just don't think we were good enough. That's the simple fact. And maybe there were too many big time Charlies. And I don't mean that to be a pun, because I think obviously Charlie Austin was brilliant. But I mean there were too many guys who were just picking up the paycheck. Whereas Bournemouth look like they're all fighting for one another, and to be fair, at the moment we do as well.
Egos before attitude, egos and wrong attitude, perhaps.
Yeah.
Rather than, I know the Bournemouth player had that personal tragedy, and when they scored, you could see the unity with the players, and you kind of think that we never really had unity.
Well, that's why it's good that we've got Hasselbank in, because Eddie Howe was a manager who did really well with a team in the lower leagues, and he managed to build a team like that, and that's what Hasselbank did with Burton. So you just got to hope that he can do the same at us.
Yeah. Well, when we were at the meeting with Ramsey and Ferdinand at the start of the season, the theme that I got out of that was that dressing room was toxic at times and it needed to be changed. Now, that's going to take 2 seasons, 3 seasons, but it did seem that there was issues in that dressing room, and you can kind of see it as well sometimes.
Well, I think getting rid of Barton was a good move in that regard. I know he's a good player, and certain people are.
He was quite respectful on Saturday.
Yeah, I know he was, yeah, but I think speaking to people in the game, he's probably not a very good influence in the dressing room.
Well, the irony was when he was talking about bad eggs.
Exactly.
He was obviously wasn't talking about himself, but I think that's what everybody thought. But
exactly.
We know who the bad eggs are.
Stand up for your players. You don't, call them out in public. It's the manager's job if he decides to do that.
But I said that a lot last season, and when there was tackles flying in, our lads were not protecting each other. They weren't coming in and sorting each other out. They were kind of just doing it. I mean, I suppose you could say the falling was a big case at the Reading game that time. But they didn't seem to really get. I don't think they were down the pub having a yarn after games and having the crack, like maybe 4 or 5.
No, but I mean,
cliches and
I think but obviously Hasselbank's not going to say anything different. But he, in his press conference today, he said he quite likes the spirit and they seem quite together. And I think they do. I think compared to, I think it was a different kettle of fish last season. I think we've moved a few of those people on. And what I did like was Clint Hill's summary of their first training session, and saying that he was basically, putting him through the mill a bit. And there was a few players who Hasselbank called over and, basically said they need to try a bit harder. So, I mean, that's quite encouraging. And the fact he wants to play a pressing game as well. I mean, the thing is, Rome's not built in a day. I mean, he's, I think for the clean sheet against Burnley in your first game, that's not the worst result in the world.
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it's pretty startling how quickly we've gone from letting 2 in every game to not letting in very many goals at all. And I don't know what the particular stats are. Although I do know it's been nearly 2 months since we were in a game with more than one goal. October 24th against MK Dons 3-0 was the last game that we were in that featured more than one goal. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, but the thing is that well, you just answered your own question there, really, because we've stopped the goals.
Hang on. I don't know what the question was, and I don't know what the answer was, but I'm looking forward to hearing it.
But you said you're not quite sure how that happened. The fact that we've gone from letting all the what's happened is we're not scoring them now either. So we're not gung ho, are we? We're not just.
Yeah.
Under Ramsey, we were just pouring forward.
But Anua, we talked about it. Anua looked really out of sorts. We were questioning whether actually should he be captain. Is it affecting him? Is he under too much pressure? Now he looks like a totally different player. He's assured. He's confident. He's feels he's sort of almost grown into himself in a matter of weeks. It's amazing how these things change around.
Well, maybe he feels better protected in front of him as well.
Yeah. Well, I think Fallin and Sandra, they're playing really nicely together, aren't
Saturday, they? Yeah. I mean, the thing with both of those is that they do, eventually run out of steam, and that's what I was saying. If we could have got that goal in the first half, then I think we could have held on, because we don't. Famous last words. We don't look like conceding many at the moment.
Sandra's starting to play really well.
Said that before we play Brighton.
Yeah, I know.
I just hope Sandra doesn't pull up on Tuesday. With 2 games in short space of time with his injury record.
Well,
maybe he's going to prove everyone wrong.
We are not letting many in, but we do seem to have a problem up front, don't we? Particularly if Charlie's on the bench. It's quite unfair, I think. It's an unfair amount of pressure on Hoylett and Phillips to have them up front. And I'll give you another stat. You talked about the stat I gave you before. We had 17 chances on Saturday, but only 4 of them were on target. So there's a real problem at finishing, isn't there, and getting on the end of stuff. And where are the options other than Charlie? I know, Jet's kind of getting back to fitness, but it's a bit threadbare, isn't it?
Tell you what, he's huge.
Who?
I reckon he's bigger than Shittu.
Oh, what? Fine.
Seriously, I have not seen a forward that big probably since Gary Thompson. He's huge. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
No, I agree, but I think maybe Hasselbank just said, have a shot when you can, and that probably explains the not so many on target. But I don't know. I don't think many teams have scored a lot of goals against Burnley this season. They conceded 2 against Preston at home the game before that. But if you look, they're one of the teams that concede the fewest goals. But I can see Hasselbank coming in for a striker, whether or not Charlie Austin goes in January. It's a problem when you don't put Poulter. Where was Poulter? He's not on the bench even. What's happened to him?
Poulter, he's sort of. I mean, he hasn't been really seen since that infamous tweet.
It's amazing how much they spent on him, and he's just nowhere to be seen.
I know.
I think it was a bit of an odd acquisition, that one.
Yeah,
it's a learning curve.
For who?
For both.
But it is. I agree. I mean, it's. We're just not good enough to start with false nines every week.
But is it not say the opposition coming to... I mean, I thought Gray was quite good. You can see why they spent the money on him.
Very quick.
Very good player. But I felt their defence was more edgy. So if we had got behind them a bit more, we could have caused some problems, because they didn't seem that assured. They did a lot of stupid things you expect sometimes. But you know what? At some point, we're going to have to play... I still think, as I said, we're going to try and get through to January, and then you'll maybe see... another squad coming in, another rebuild.
Well,
another 39,
I hope not.
I hope not, because I don't know. I don't know if that's going to start. I don't know if I don't know if he would go for that many players. I mean, he might get 1 or 2, as Harry used to say.
I reckon he'll about 6
Really?
in. Yeah, I reckon so.
You can't get 6 players in a window. When will we learn?
It depends if the objective is to, we never know what the objective is. If it's to consolidate, or whether it's promotion at all costs.
They'll sit there and panic. They'll go, "We're going to be." They're in a little room. It's all very zen, and it's all tickety boo. And they're fine. And then after about 5 minutes, someone goes, "Have you seen how much money we'll get if we go in the Premier League, and how much debt we can pay with that money?
Yeah.
Quick, buy some players. It will change everything." And then the players that we can't get rid of will still be there, and we'll have an even bigger squad with more people on Westfield on Saturdays and playing on the pitch.
Well, we do need another striker, really, regardless of whether Austin goes or not, because at the moment it's if he's not fit.
Well, we have 2 strikers, don't we?
Yeah,
we have 2 strikers. Charlie and Jet, and that is not enough. You need 4.
Well, we've got Poulter, but yeah.
Okay, but he's obviously not in the picture, and you need 3 to 4.
You've also got the wee lad who played the Premiership last season, but doesn't seem to be getting the chance in the the Cox. A
go
in the in the Championship,
right,
which is bizarre to say. Right, we'll play you in the Premiership, but we're not going to play you in the Championship. Yeah. That looks a bit bizarre.
I think a few people were disappointed not to see Petrasso play from the off against.
Yeah, and Hasselbank
Burnley.
said he didn't play because he preferred the
experience of Henry.
Yeah.
Although, it was just when Henry had that chance, you knew he wasn't going to score, didn't you?
No.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to a Henry Barton kind of like, right, we've been nice to each other for 2 years. Let's show what we really feel about each other. Yeah, and it was kind of like very timid.
But there was one. The chance. Obviously, he didn't really want it to fall to him, but he played some quite decent stuff. Henry. I mean, someone called him next to me called him Henrinho because he was doing
he
a bit.
Did play all right, didn't he?
Skill on the wing there.
He's what they used to call a utility player, or he's getting that way, isn't he? They sort of stick him everywhere.
Rose of the
Marcus,
21st century.
Or a Marcus Bignot.
Yes. Right. So tomorrow night. Probably by the time a lot of people will have heard this, so we'll try and make it sort of current and relevant. We're playing Brighton, who are top of the league, who I don't even know how many games they haven't lost in. How many games have they not lost in? It's more than 10.
I don't
think they've lost all season, have they?
No, they haven't.
Have they not?
No. So.
Well, there you go. It's more than 10.
Only in Europe's major leagues, the first and second division in every country, only Brighton and PSG are unbeaten still.
Wow.
And we have a player who's played for both QPR and Brighton. Now, Paul, this is one of your favourite players, so you can introduce him.
I mean, when I was a child, he was a legend. To me, he was brilliant. I mean, home games, he was just immense. He was amazing. He just, the relationship he had with Gary Bannister was just superb, and it's Johnny Byrne.
John, thanks for joining us. First off, the game tomorrow night. You played over 100 games for both clubs, so plenty of experience. What way do you think it's going to go?
What, tomorrow? Oh, blimey. It's, well, as you know, Brighton are still unbeaten, aren't they? Top of the Championship. QPR got a new manager. I don't know. I mean, I've always got to sit on the fence in these games, I think, haven't I? To be honest with you. I can't sort of... I still live in Brighton, so I've got to be careful. Definitely careful what I say. I think Brighton are waiting to get beat, aren't they? I think it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen at some stage. I can't see them going all the way through the season, remaining unbeaten. QPR got a new manager, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. I think it'll be a tough game for Brighton tomorrow. I think the players want to show Jimmy Floyd what they can do. As I say, Brighton, the pressure that every time they go a game and they've not got beat, I think there's a little bit more pressure on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep, perfect sense. We're going to win.
They're top of the league, and they're unbeaten, but they're still not pulling away from the pack. Because they're drawing a lot of games. So I don't know. I'm going for a draw after all that.
So basically, you are sitting on the fence. You got splinters in your arse.
I've got splinters. I'm going to squat like a.
John, are you coming tomorrow night?
I'm not, mate. No, I can't. So they did ask us. I did get asked to come. The club rang us and said, "Would it be available?" But I work. I'm a podiatrist in the NHS, and we've got clinics fully booked, so I don't get away from work till about 6 o'clock. But I will be, keeping an eye on the game. It's not on telly, is it? It's not on telly.
Yes, it is.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Okay. I'll watch it then. So as long as it's not on BT Sports, I'll definitely watch it then.
Yeah. One of our guys here works at BT Sports, so we're pleased that you said that.
Yeah.
Could be a florist.
John, have you? I don't know if you've seen much of QPR or at all this year, but what's your view of where the club are at the moment and what they need to do to get back into the Premier League?
Oh, blimey. It just seems to, I don't know, they're just not kicking on at all, aren't they? It all seems a little bit sort of middle of the table-ish at the moment. Would it be fair enough to say that? I haven't seen a great deal of them. But you know what the Championship's like. You start putting a run together, there's not much between, middle of the table and getting back into contention. So, I mean, he's got to galvanise them, has he? He's got to galvanise the troops and get them playing for him, and hopefully they can push on that table. I mean, the important thing for him, I think, is to keep hold of Charlie Austin, surely, in the transfer window. Because he's a player who can sort of drive you on to get into that top contentive group.
Yeah, we were just talking about Charlie actually, about whether he would go or stay. I mean, at the start of the season, he said that he was going to stay out to the end of the season, and that's that, because obviously he'll be available on a free then. So I don't know what, obviously you're a former striker. What would you do? I mean, if a club in the lower reaches of the Premier League are battling for survival, like a Villa or a Sunderland came in for you, would you go for them, or would you stick with and try and get QPR up?
Oh, I tell you what, tough question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tough question. I think if they were QPR were pushing a little bit towards the top of the table, they'd probably be inclined to stay. But at the moment, I mean, how far off the top are we?
We're only 4 points off the playoffs.
Oh, right, okay. So it's a difficult one, and I think the club are in a difficult situation, because as you say, if he stays and he goes on a free, they may want to cash in on him, and then Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank might want to find a striker who could replace him. Difficult to do that, because strikers who can get you 20, 30 goals a season are few and far between at that level.
Yeah, but we were just saying, I mean, obviously Brighton are doing brilliantly, and fair, I wouldn't mind seeing them going up at all, but we were saying that the standard of the Championship doesn't appear to be as good as it has been in previous years.
No, I agree with that. I've always agreed with that. I think the Championship, we've seen it. If you can find some consistency, you're going to be there. But I mean, it's the same old story, isn't it? I say Brighton, they're unbeaten. They're top of the table, but you're almost 20 games unbeaten, and they've not pulled away from the pack. And you can see them having a bad spell. I don't want to put the hoodoo on them, but you can see them having a bad. Well, yeah. Well, tomorrow night you will, of course. But and if they do have a bad run, you can see them, as I say, slipping down. But the only thing I would say about Brighton, and I know it's a QPR podcast, is that I think Chris Hughton, he's been there, seen it, done it. He knows what it takes. He's got a good squad together, and they're very, very well organised. And his major coup was bringing in Bobby Zamora back. Obviously, he hasn't got the legs anymore, but in and around the 18-yard box, he's proven his worth. And getting the lad James Wilson, I don't know how long they're going to keep hold of him in from Manchester United. I mean, I'm a United fan. I was gutted when he left United. He's a striker.
John, our podcast is going to run for the whole week, so anyone that listens to it after tomorrow night, they'll know the Brighton result. So instead, let's move you on to a bit of nostalgia. You played with distinction for the club in the 80s. What are your memories of being down at Loftus Road? What are your kind of abiding memories of the club?
Oh, God. I don't know, really. I mean, there's loads of different memories. I mean, obviously the fantastic results we had against Chelsea, the Milk Cup run, the plastic pitch, the fantastic retro Guinness Queen's Park Rangers kit. It's my favourite kit I've ever played in. It was the track suits, the blue and white. It was just, I mean, and the lads and everything, everything around the club. It was just. From a lad coming from the north, coming down south, it was, it was a great move for me, and I met some great people there, and it was just a good club to be around at the time. And listen, it wasn't always up to me. I mean, there were times when form was poor and I was left out and that, but I played with some great players around that time, and I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast last time. I said, the quality, when I first come from York, the first training session, I was gobsmacked with the quality around me. I thought, I played for a decent side for York City, but, some of the players around me, I was thinking, God, what am I doing here with this lot?
Well, I can tell you what you were doing there. You were making people very happy. What was it?
Well, yeah.
Well, sorry, before you got... Sorry, that's my fault for cutting in. Sorry,
that's
John.
Right.
What was it made Gary Bannister and you click so well? Because you seemed to be telepathic almost at times.
I don't know. Maybe we were. No, I don't know. No.
What's he thinking now then? Where is he?
Banner. He's having a bath.
Yeah. Tell him he's got to come on the QPR podcast soon.
Sorry.
Has he not been on yet?
No.
He was down there. He was down there once last season, I think. I think he did the Manchester United game. I asked him, could I do that? And I obviously got custard pie for Banner.
Was that a throwback to the 80s, John?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah.
But he was amazing, though, wasn't he?
He was a great player. He was great. I mean, he was one of the ones, that first day of training, watching. He was making runs I wouldn't even have thought of making. When I saw him in training, I was thinking, blimey, that's a great little run. But his quality, his first touch, his finishing, it was incredible, and he was such a good lad off the pitch. I know it's an old cliche and we say that, but he was a great lad. He was a northern lad as well. He's from just outside Manchester, from around Warrington, I think. But he was a good lad off the pitch as well, and we clicked and gelled. And, it was funny, really, because everywhere I've gone and I've played for teams, I've always played with a bigger striker than me, but all of a sudden I became the big man, I don't know how that happened.
Oh dear!
I know.
I never thought of it like that before. Actually, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say there's a couple of things. First of all, I think you might have mentioned this last time you came up, but just talk us once again through that little goal you scored against Chelsea.
Oh, in the 6-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was. I'll never forget, and I don't think a lot of QPR fans. It always comes up. Whenever we do play Chelsea. But yeah, I just remember. I've seen it so many times now. I can show my 6-year-old boy now and my 28-year-old boy like the goals I've scored in the past. There was one on the other day. Someone put something on Twitter against Watford in the league in the run up to the Milk Cup. I don't know if you remember. We won 1-0. Yeah. And the funny thing is, though, when you actually watch these goals, I remember that goal at Watford. I was about 30 yards out. Then when you watch it, I'm 18 yards out.
But what do you? I mean, with the goal against Chelsea, though, are you just thinking as soon as you get the ball, are you just thinking, right, I'm going for this, or does it just sort of fall into your lap?
It just falls out. Well, yeah, basically. I mean, you pick the ball. I just picked the ball up just over the halfway line, and then I started running, and then players came in and. I was sort of evading them, and then, all of a sudden you think, hang on a minute, I don't think you're thinking about it. I think they're just going over and you're going round them and you're going through, and then all of a sudden you're through with just the keeper to beat, and you manage to plant it in the bottom corner. So I don't think you're thinking too much about it. I'm probably more surprised that people just kept falling over as you're going out.
Yeah. And the other point I was going to mention before I sign off is just I can't see if Wayne Rooney does a Man United podcast in 10 years' time saying that he's not going to get to make the game because he doesn't finish work till 6 o'clock. Just strikes me as slightly unfair that you've given this great service to a lot of clubs, including QPR and Brighton. I'm sure you don't mind, but that Wayne Rooney and the likes of that, you just sort of missed out on the gravy train there.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't. I don't even think about it really because I enjoy my job now. I've been doing it for 15 years, and it's I work with a good team of people, and I'd rather be doing something than that than hanging around all day doing nothing. And and I can't see Wayne retraining
no.
to be a podiatrist somehow, but. But I have no regrets, boys, and good luck to those boys. They're playing the football at the right time in terms of financial gain, aren't they? So.
I'd say one thing, John, it's good to hear that, but you I don't think you ever grasp it how much you're loved by QPR, but you're properly loved at Rangers, and please do get down to a game soon because a lot of people would like to shake you by the hand, I'm sure.
I'm definitely going to try and get down this season. I have spoke to the club about it. I've just got to look at a few dates. So they have invited us up. As I said, they invited me down tomorrow night, but it's impossible to get down there tomorrow.
Well, that's good to hear. Not that you can't go, that they invited you.
Yeah. and John, are you ever there in a consultation and you're looking at someone's foot or someone's ankle and they say, are you John Byrne? Have you ever had that?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I don't get it. I mean, obviously, I haven't got a mullet anymore, so I don't get it. I don't get it very often. But I mean, people do see the name, and people sometimes sort of recognise us as that. I suppose, and then obviously, they're not bothered about their ankle or whatever. They just want to talk about football, which. It's all right with me, sort of thing.
The old distraction technique.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you do. I mean, you do get people, like I say, and it's nice. It's nice that people. I mean, I'm very lucky lads like most of the clubs I went to, people remember us in a nice way. So I do appreciate that. It's I suppose you could go to some clubs, some players who played, and they could get a bit of abuse. But I'm fairly lucky everywhere I went. I did okay for them. So, and I'm really pleased that when I was at Rangers, that most people do remember us in a nice fashion. So it's pleasing.
John, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you're wrong about the draw tomorrow. Hopefully we'll win. But make sure you come down to Rangers soon.
Can I just give a mention to someone?
Go for it. Yeah.
It's from the Jarrow R's, and it's just to give Charlie Otis Lovell a mention.
All right. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know. Yep.
That's all right. That's from Paul down here. He's a local R's fan.
I know him well.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He comes to watch me playing. I foolishly played in a charity match in the summer, and Paul came down he had his QPR shirt on and everything, and it was great to meet him, to be honest. But I only lasted about 20 minutes, and my hamstring went. So you shouldn't play. You should, when you're 54, don't play in matches. Actually, you've got to say no.
Yeah, take note, Paul.
Take note.
Yeah.
Good array.
John, thanks a lot. Please do come on again.
Oh, we'll do that anytime, boys. Anytime I can help out. No problem.
Cheers, big man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Listen, thanks for asking us. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
Cheers,
mate.
Cheers, fella.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so
What a nice man.
what a lovely guy. Yeah. Lovely guy. Paul's hero.
Mm-hmm. What a mini. But he was probably, people from my era, and because you're as old as me.
Nearly.
Stop it. It's just to hear that he's working for the NHS is good in one way, it's because he's putting something back, but you can't imagine people from 2 years ago.
A Premier League centre forward being a podiatrist. No mean feat.
He was a great player. He's another one like Ian Stewart who did. He's another one like Ian Stewart who didn't realise how good he was. I think John Byrne underestimated himself, and that was his problem. He was a very, very good footballer.
The only one who could be a podiatrist is Sol Campbell.
Wow. You do this on Facebook.
Come on, you wanted to laugh.
I'm
at
not.
that. You wanted to laugh at that.
I'm just watching someone's career disappear.
Or Tony Adams.
Tokeneer.
Right.
This needs to stop, okay? It really needs to stop, yeah. Otherwise, we'll end up getting sponsored by some food company.
Before we move on to the R's End, let's before we move on to the R's End, the interesting debate we were having before we started recording. I sent you an email earlier, Paul, where I referred to Rangers, like as in the sentence was, hopefully Rangers will get points over Christmas, I think it was. And you corrected me and said it's not Rangers, it's the Rangers. And John Byrne just referred to us as Rangers, not the. So does it have a the or doesn't it have a the?
When John Byrne says it, it's fair. When you say it, I'll just pick you up on it.
Duh.
Chris, are you the or not the?
Well, you're there if you're going down to what you're going. So I'm going down the Rangers. I mean, but I mean, I would, half of our songs have got Rangers in without
when Rangers win and Chelsea lose. It's not when the Rangers win and Chelsea lose.
You misquoted me, which is unfair and dyslexic. But
here we go.
Yes, well played by me. What I was saying was, I always say the Rangers because maybe that's a Ladbroke Grove thing. I don't know, but a lot of people from where I lived always said the Rangers. That's
but you do. You go. I'm going down the Rangers. How did the Rangers get on? Yeah, that's.
But of course, you don't say when the Rangers win and Chelsea lose. Of course not. That's a daft thing to say, Chris.
Let us know on Twitter if you're Team Finney with the Rangers or if you're Team me, whatever, on just as Rangers. Let us know.
That'll be your mum phoning in then.
Yeah, exactly. No. Right, R's End. Anything that you haven't said yet that you need to say? First thing I have to say is thank you to Thomas Holden, who bought us the beers tonight.
Oh.
So a chap called Thomas Holden went on our website. We have a little PayPal account where the podcast is free. It's always been free. However, we take donations because we have running costs and all the rest of it. He clicked on our donation button and gave us money for beers.
Aww.
So these beers we have in front of us are courtesy of Thomas Holden. So thank you very much for him.
Someone's just tweeted, now that I've seen Paul Finney in this T-shirt, I know it's a great ideal present for my dad. Yeah.
Well, I may as well go on to the second thing. So tonight, we've got a deal.
Sorry.
So we've got to deal with the Art of Football, they're Rangers fans. They do really nice T-shirts with kind of pictures that they've turned into artwork on them. And Finney's wearing the Zamora goal, and I'm wearing the Trevor Sinclair goal. We've got for Christmas, if you want to buy, you should go on there. There's loads of designs, not just QPR, not just Rangers, not just the Rangers, but non-QPR designs as well. I think Ash, who does the AK90s podcast before us, was wearing a Rene Higuita one.
Hang on. Me and Chris are getting left out here.
Oh, no, yeah.
We need to sort you and Chris out one.
Well,
anyway,
they are very nice.
So we got an offer on with them. It's 10% off. If you put in the code,
Chris and Chris.
If you,
you're all heartful.
If you
What's
go
the name
on
of
their
that flower company
website,
again?
So we get 20%
Florally
off together.
if you go on their website and put in the code QPR Pod, you get 10% off. So go on to art-of-football.com.
If we keep putting it
10%
in,
off.
we get 10 more off.
10% off. 10% off. Exactly. Right. Go on, Chris.
Well, okay, yeah. I was just going to mention this Stan Bowles raffle that we've had running for 2 or 3 weeks now, and very kindly, most of the fans' websites like India's, Love for Words, and a few of the others have stickied, I think is the term. So yeah, it's essentially you put £5 in, and you can win a variety of goodies. I mean. You can get yourself a QPR signed shirt by most of the squad, a signed picture of Stan, some EA Sports FIFA 16 games. You can even win a spot on the podcast. And if you're really lucky and you you pick up the booby prize, you can win 2
That's how
spots on the
Finney
podcast.
came to come on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, so
Whoever told you were funny was a very cruel human being.
but
Can I do more foot jokes?
No.
Sorry. Go on,
But
Chris.
it is for a great cause. It's obviously to go towards Stan's ongoing care, as most people will know. He's got Alzheimer's, and it's going to be split between his ongoing care and the Alzheimer's Society. And you can, is it West 12 Media? What's the?
If you go on our website at qprpod.co.uk, there's a button there.
Top right, isn't it?
I think it's on the homepage. If you go on there, if you can't find it, just tweet us and ask us. But if you go on there, you click on the PayPal button under the competition, you donate a £5, you get put into the draw. We're closing it next Monday so that we can make sure the prizes get out before Christmas, and we'll announce the winners on the pod next Monday and contact them next Monday.
Cool. I mean, I don't know. They should get there, but given it's going to be the 21st, then might be a bit tight. But just in case.
I mean, we can talk Royal Mail logistics if you want.
No, let's not.
Hopefully they will get there for Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
If they don't,
They don't.
Chris.
I just want to say, I think we're going to win tomorrow night.
That wasn't the point.
That's my R's end.
Oh. Okay.
Go on. Expand.
Well, I just think I agree with what we heard earlier about Brighton just waiting to lose. You're not going to go the whole of the season unbeaten in the Championship. They've been close a few times. They were 2-0 down 2 weekends ago. Somehow came back last minute winner. Bobby Zamora. It's annoying me how much he's helping them as well. But yeah, anyway. Well, I think we're going to win. It's going to be tight again. Maybe a 1-0.
Do you think we'll win if we don't start with a striker?
I think we will start with a striker. We're going to start with Charlie Austin up front. So I've been reading
Okay. Cool.
between the lines.
I have a couple of things to say. First, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Florally Yours. It's always great to see another florist on the podcast. Please pop in the Funky Flowers in Barnet and say hello, Florally Yours.
Let's start renaming it the Flodcast at this rate. won't we?
You're really
Floralcast. The other thing is...
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, a mate of mine, Danny Allen and Jimmy Osmond are doing a boxing match in Watford on Sunday the 20th for cancer research. It's a white collar boxing match, and anyone that gets in the ring for any reason gets my full respect because I'm a complete wuss. And
Are they
wouldn't
QPR fans?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Danny sits near me, he's a good mate. So, one thing we need to talk about is the atmosphere at the Rangers. It's been a wee bit. For the last couple of seasons, since Philip Beard had this brainwave of kicking everyone out of the lower loft and making it a family stand, which is fine because now it is a family stand, and now we've got the lower school end, which is full of people who might not go to that many games, and they put them in there, and you get the away fans above. Both ends of the ground there seems to be a void of noise.
Yeah. No, I'd go with that.
And I don't know how we fix it. It's a very difficult issue. It's a too small a ground to have a family issue. You can't give a 12-year-old free beer, Chris, and that's just wrong. But seriously, it needs to be addressed seriously, and I don't know how we do it without upsetting anyone, because if you...
The team playing better will help.
Yeah, but even
Don't
with that,
forget, the
David,
last few seasons have not been very good.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's anything to do with that. I genuinely
think
believe
it is a little bit. I mean,
no, I don't. I
Come on,
disagree.
because even the season we went up, of course, Wembley. Well, I'm talking about when we won the playoff final. Wembley was amazing,
Yeah.
but coming up to it, it wasn't that great because we thought we weren't going to go up. So actually, have we even had an amazing season? I don't remember us even having like. You think that Liverpool game 3-2 in the first Premier League season? How many moments like that have we had since that game?
But also,
at Loftus Road?
for there to be a good atmosphere, the fans have to be fully behind the manager. And Chris Ramsey just didn't have the support of the QPR
but
fans.
it's not about that. I genuinely do believe there's something seriously wrong with the atmosphere at QPR, the Rangers, that needs to be sorted pretty. It's just I just find it strange because the Liverpool game, the Chelsea game, we beat them was buzzing, but even in league. Division 2 we're in that. It was more. The atmosphere was better. I just wish the club could try and sort this issue out and get rid without any tacky clappers and silly things like that, gimmicks. Just get the atmosphere going again.
Well, I'm sort of with David. I think it's in terms. I mean, was the family stand was there when we went up under Warnock, wasn't it?
No, it came in under Philip Beard's regime, so it would have been the first season in the Premiership. Yeah,
was it? Okay. Because I was going to say the atmosphere was pretty decent that year. But I mean, it's
it would have been the second season, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, it was Philip Beard brought it in, who was completely useless. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, what I've said before is that the problem is you're going to get like against Brighton tomorrow. That's when the problems arise because half the family stand will be empty because the kids will be like my kid and all the rest of it. But maybe for next season or sometime, like I said, that time if you could bring your mate in or whatever on those nights, that would be handy.
It was nice to see Chris Ramsey on Match of the Day 2 last night.
He did well, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's good. Right, we have to finish up because we have a cleaner
3-0
looking at us
night.
through the window.
Yeah.
3-0 Rangers tomorrow night.
The Rangers.
Thank you very much for listening. This has been the QPR Podcast. The QPR Podcast is a West 12 Media and Burble Media production. The QPR Podcast is sponsored by Florally Yours, based outside Harrow-on-the-Hill train station and run by Kerry, a QPR fan. They can supply everything you need in the way of fresh flowers and plants for every occasion.
QPR, Chris